Hey, what's going on, everyone? Alex here. Welcome back into the DaBearsDen Network, and here today to discuss the Bears' overtime loss at home, 30-27 to the Minnesota Vikings. A lot to talk about today. I've got a notepad here of things that I really want to make sure I hit and discuss. And with that being said, we'll go ahead and we'll get right into it. If you're new here, please subscribe, hit the thumbs up button, leave a comment down below. It helps me grow the channel. We are 10 subscribers away from 100 subscribers, so that would really mean the world to me if we can hit that first big milestone. Thank you guys so much. All right, let's start with the defense. The biggest problem yesterday, again, what was keeping Matt Eberflus employed, in my eyes, earlier in the season and earlier in this loss streak was, okay, they're losing games, but um, the defense is keeping them in, and the defense is playing pretty well, right? Like one score loss against Houston, one score loss against Indy, one score loss against Washington, where Washington only had 18 points, and that was with the Hail Mary, right? So the defense was playing fine. The offense really wasn't doing jobs. But now we're at a point where the defense is actually looking like it's the weakest part of the team. So when you give up 30 points in the NFL, your chances of winning are extremely low. And especially when the offense has not been consistent this year and you have a rookie quarterback, giving up 30 points, you're not going to win, right? A lot of the problems I have with the defense is kind of the regression under Matt Eberflus, right? Because this is his side of the ball. The past two seasons, the Bears were first in rushing defense. They're bottom half this year in rushing defense. They might be bottom 10. Why is that different? Is it the loss of Andrew Billings? If that's the case, that's a problem because injuries happen. So if you're building your entire team and your defense off of one guy, you're relying on his health, right? And that's poor roster construction, and that falls at the feet of Ryan Poles. The rushing defense is not great. Aaron Jones gashed us yesterday, and Cam Akers had some carries. I think they had another back in there as well that was also getting some carries. The biggest problem I have with the defense is they fold in the biggest moments. The offense fights back, claws the team back, forces overtime. Now the offense goes 3 out in overtime. They don't do their job. They had a chance to go win it, right? So I'm not going to act like this is completely on the defense. But the offense had a chance to go win it. They didn't do that. So now the ball is in the hands of the defense. And what does the defense do? After Sam Darnold takes a sack and they have a holding penalty, they give up an 80-yard drive in overtime where they give up a 1st and 15 situation, a 1st and 20 situation, and then they give up a 3rd and 15. This is Matt Eberflus's big, hits principles, the big defense, elite defense. Giving up chunk play after chunk play in overtime because he's playing prevent. He's playing a soft coverage. It's 3rd and 15, and he's so scared of Minnesota, beating them over the top, or Justin Jefferson getting behind them, that he's calling a soft coverage 16 yards back. So Sam Darnold can just throw to the sticks every single time and go right down the field in overtime. So the defense was the biggest problem yesterday once again. When you give up 30 points, the defense is the problem. Now, there's a couple things that didn't help the defense. And we will talk about the special teams next because this led to points both times. Special teams having a terrible day once again. The blocked kick once again. Back-to-back weeks. Richard Hightower, what are we doing in practice every week? That's my question because Green Bay exposed how to block field goals against the Bears. And Minnesota watched that film, and then they blocked the field goal. So now are we going to have concerns every time we go and roll out Cairo Santos every single week? Are we going to have to worry that we might not be able to make the kick because it might get blocked? That's a problem. The muffed punt, DeAndre Carter, what are we doing? That turned into 7 points for Minnesota. That is a game-altering mistake. So the special teams had an impact, right? Because it puts the defense in poor positions. Because we're leaving the field with no points. Or with DeAndre Carter, we're leaving the field without even a possession of the ball. And then Minnesota's turning that into points. So it's on the defense. But it's also partially on the special teams because then they're putting the defense in poor positions. DeAndre Carter kind of redeemed himself later in the game with a big kick return, right? Set up an easy score late in the game, but then you're even on the day, right? We want guys making net positive plays on the day. So still not a great day. Then I want to talk about the coaching because this is the difference maker. Under Matt Eberflus, the Bears are 5-19 in one-score games. When it comes down to one-score games, the minute details are what decide the outcome. The coaching decisions, the small errors, the small plays are the ones that decide the games. Penalties, again, almost 100 yards in penalties yesterday. Matt Eberflus, he knows about them because he talks about them in every week's post-game press conference. He had penalties are wrong, we got to clean it up. Well, good coaches actually get them cleaned up. The problem is in Chicago under Matt Eberflus, the penalties keep going every single week. Stupid penalties. They're not forced ones a lot of the time, right? There was a pass interference. There might have been 2. But a lot of them are stupid ones. False starts, illegal formations, illegal shifts, too many men on the field. That's coaching. Here's another instance of bad coaching yesterday. It's 4th down. The Bears are in the red zone. Out comes Cairo Santos. But the offense actually wants to go for it. And Matt Eberflus is fine with going for it. But they're now late. They have to get Cairo Santos off the field with 20-ish seconds left. Thomas Brown is late getting the play in because he's not sure if they're actually going for it or if they're kicking the field goal because it looks like they're kicking the field goal because the kicker's out on the field. So the play's in late. Caleb Williams relays the play to the rest of the offense late. Says in the post-game press conference that he misheard because the crowd was loud because they were cheering that the Bears were going for it. Misheard the play. And then they're getting to the line with 5 seconds left, so he doesn't have any time to look at the defense, diagnose anything, and they barely get the snap off. So because the head coach couldn't decide whether or not he wanted to kick it or go for it, it created a cascading domino effect that led to the Bears not getting it. Caleb didn't really know what the play was. He didn't have time to read the defense. It was all late, and so he did a quick little choice route to Keenan Allen, and it should have been caught, but it wasn't. And the coach doesn't want to use a timeout in that scenario. I don't remember if they had one or not, but the coach is once again hurting the players on the field. Then we can talk about the first play out of the second half for the defense. And this goes to coaching as well. Huge 50-plus yard chunk play for Minnesota. Jordan Addison catches it, and TJ Edwards tones it down. Instead of running to the ball and making the tackle because he thinks Jordan Addison's going out of bounds, he starts jogging, he runs to the sideline, and Jordan Addison goes running up the sideline. Kevin Byard saves the touchdown, but then what happens? Matt Eberflus, because it's a chunk play, on the first play of the second half, challenges to see if he could save the chunk play in the defense and hoping that Jordan Addison stepped out of bounds. And they don't win the challenge. And so they're down a timeout the first play of the second half because your linebacker decided he wanted to jog and quit on the play when the play wasn't done. Now there's a big chunk play. And now the head coach, who today in his press conference today, said that he's going to challenge in that scenario regardless of whether or not they have a good angle or a good view because he wants to try and prevent the big chunk play. So no respect for timeouts. Poor coaching because players aren't running to the ball until the whistle. And we're wasting challenges too. Just beautiful coaching. And then they're going for 2. It's 24-16. They can kick an extra point, and then an extra point ties the game later down the road. Or they can go for 2, and then if you don't get it, then you're going to have to go for 2 again next time, and you're not guaranteed that either. What does Matt Eberflus choose? He chooses to go for 2, and they don't get it, so it's 24-16. It's just this head coach is constantly putting the team in poor positions. He's constantly hurting the team. He's hurting the players. That's the problem, and that's the difference maker. And then we look at the offense yesterday. Penalties, I already mentioned them. Drops, multiple drops. Cole Kmet with a terrible drop. Keenan Allen, I think, had 2. We can't win when these guys who are getting paid millions of dollars to do their jobs are not doing their jobs. We can't win. You have a rookie quarterback who is fighting, who is making plays after plays, who's giving it his all, and his team is not helping him. I said it yesterday, and I'm going to say it again. Caleb Williams, every single week, has to overcome his coaching staff, his own offensive players, the officials, and the opposing team every single week. And he's this close every single week. The throw to DeAndre Swift on the sideline, that's the Superman stuff that we've seen from USC. He's playing comfortable, and he's playing his game under Thomas Brown. Multiple huge throws. A couple big ones to Keenan Allen over the middle. A big one to Cole Kmet down the seam. Huge one to DJ Moore to set up the field goal to go to overtime. I mean, there's maybe 2 other quarterbacks in the league that can make that throw over 2 Vikings defenders with that much velocity on the ball. The Bears have a winner. The Bears have a big-time quarterback. But he's being held back by his head coach. I mean, I had accepted that the game was lost with 2 minutes left. The Bears are down 27-16. I thought the game was over. Caleb goes down, throws the touchdown to Keenan Allen. They get the onside kick, the first onside kick of the year. There's props to special teams. I forgot that. Props to special teams for the onside kick. And then with 22 seconds left, no timeouts, Caleb Williams finds the play to force overtime. I mean, Bears fans, we haven't had a quarterback like this. We have the guy. We have an elite quarterback. We have a top 5 quarterback in the NFC. I promise you. I promise you that. The Bears have to get rid of Matt Eberflus. Next year should be fun. There's part of me that fears Matt Eberflus will be back next year. Part of me inside thinks that they're not going to cut the cord. But if he's fired after this season, next year is going to be fun. Because Caleb Williams is elite. And the roster is good enough with poor coaching. Think about this. Lost by 1 point last week to the now 8-3 Packers with this coaching. Lost by a field goal in overtime to the now 9-2 Vikings with this coaching. Could you imagine if we had a real NFL head coach? We probably would not have lost to the Colts. We probably would not have lost to Washington. We definitely would not have lost to Washington if we had a real coach. We would not have lost to Arizona. I would expect the team wouldn't be flat then because we wouldn't have lost to Washington. We would not have lost to New England if we had a real coach. And yeah, we're a real coach away from being different, from being in the playoffs, from being a potential contender. Because we have a quarterback that I'm now quickly learning that the game is not over with him in game until the clock is at 0. I mean, last year, there was multiple chances to go win the game late in the 4th. And we would either throw a late game interception, we would fumble the ball, we just wouldn't get it on 4th down, whatever. Caleb, the last 2 weeks, has led huge drives, huge pressure drives to win the game against Green Bay, blocked kick, and to force overtime yesterday. We have the quarterback. Now we just the coach. And it starts at the top with the ownership. Those are my thoughts on the game, guys. I appreciate you guys listening. As always, like I said, if you're new here, please hit the subscribe button. I am 10 subscribers away from 100 subscribers. It would be a huge milestone for me to hit. I would really appreciate it. And as always, I will see you in tomorrow's video. Schedule is going to be a little bit different this week because of Thanksgiving. We got all the Thanksgiving games in the early window. Going to be a bit more of a compressed schedule this week. Yeah, I appreciate you guys listening. Bear down. We will see you in tomorrow's video. Peace.